Hi there, Alex. Thanks for sending in your first video to ProLinks Golf. My name's Luke and I'm looking forward to trying to help you with your game. All in all, pretty good setup we see for your address to this driver shot. I've had a look at your grip video that you sent and it looks pretty neutral. I don't think it's a strong grip, so to speak, so you could maybe experiment with just making your left hand grip just move around to the right on the club shaft a tiny bit as you look down. But to be honest, it doesn't look like there's anything untoward, and it looks the same in these videos as well. So I'm not necessarily thinking that the best thing to do straight away is to start messing with what's a pretty solid fundamental. What I want to actually talk about, and for normally in the first session we might look at something that's set up, but there's nothing glaring for me here, is just part of your takeaway. You mentioned that you hit a bit of a big slice or fade as your bad shot. We know that comes from the club face being open. And so we need to try and see where that happens in the golf swing and why that happens, and see if there's anything we can do to try and improve that. So I just want to stop your takeaway with both of the videos here. I'm going to stop this one here on the left, and I'm going to stop this one on the right here. Okay, so the left you've gone a bit further back than you have on the right, but they're both early in that part of the takeaway. And what we're seeing here, that first move, that the club face has rotated away from the ball, so you've actually fanned that club face open quite a lot with both in both of these videos. So what we're seeing here, if I just put a couple of arrows on, the club face in here is pointing sort of up to the sky and in a diagonal in that sort of sense, as I've just drawn here. And then this one here, if we have a look, you can actually see the club face is already facing us at the camera. So if you think about where this from face on it started, so it started off pointing at the target, which is obviously somewhere over there, and in the first few feet of the backswing you've opened that club face towards the camera very early. Now that fanning open of the club face can, not always, but can lead to leaving the club face open throughout the swing, and that's what we're seeing with your action and also with your shot pattern as you've described it. So what I want you to do, it's a drill I would recommend doing first of all with a shorter club, but you can try it with the driver as well, maybe build up to doing it with that, is actually work on that takeaway at this position here through what we do with our left wrist. Okay, so if you imagine your glove hand on the left hand screen here, okay, the logo of your glove points it pretty much exactly the same direction as your club face is. Now that's with the neutral grip. If you fan open the club face in that first part of the backswing, then you are opening the club face early in the swing and struggling to return the club face square. So you imagine if I turned your left wrist, if I rotated your left wrist in a little way so that the logo pointed more down towards the ground here, your club face would match up to that. Okay, so rather than the club face and the logo pointing skyward, if you turn that logo or turn the club face down to the ground a little more, that would obviously be affecting the position of the club face at this point in the golf swing. Now, there's still loads of other mistakes and difficulties we can get into in the rest of the swing, but if your club face is fanned open in the first part of the golf swing, it either has to be compensated for in the golf shot, in the rest of the swing, or you're going to be susceptible to the shot that you're describing, which is the open club face shot, the slice. So I want you to do a couple of just takeaway drills for me, where you actually try and change the positioning of your left wrist in that first part of the takeaway, which therefore change the positioning of the left of the club face, and then see what shot patterns you can start to change with with doing those drills. So I would expect you to be able to feel like the ball might go a long way left. Maybe you would see that the ball would curve in the air that way. I'd certainly start with an iron because it's a bit shorter, maybe a 7-iron or an 8-iron or something like that, but actually promote through that change of takeaway a little bit more of a closed face and actually start seeing the ball curve the opposite way to normal. And then work on your parameters, so try and bring the amount it's curving to the left in a little bit, and see if you can stop that ball from curving to the right as often as possible with that takeaway drill. I'll send you the drill separately so you can see what I'd like you to do, and in that drill I'll show you the reference the two different positions, the position that you're getting into and what the club face does, and the position that I would like you to get into or feel that you get into more in your takeaway. And if you're going to send me some more videos, I'd like you to send me videos of you doing that drill and rehearsing it, so that I can actually see if it's and compare it to some of the takeaway moves you've done in your other swings. Thanks very much for sending your first video, and I look forward to seeing your next swings.